Welcome back to my part 2 of one watch from every major brand. If you've already watched the first part, you've covered some of the biggest names in the watch industry. And some of you were disgusted that I didn't include the likes of IWC, Lange Söhne. But guys, I promise you, it was strategic. I wanted to know if the video idea was a good idea, and it did pretty well, so I'm making the part 2, and I promise you I'll be covering some of the brands that you were disgusted with the fact that I missed out on. Just like the first video, I want you guys to let me know what your choices are as I go through each brand in the video. But before I get into it, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jag from Jag's Watches. If you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing if you're into watches, of course, and returning viewers, welcome back. Now, I'm not going to waste any more time. We are starting with a big watch, a big hitter, JLC, and of course I'm talking about the Reverso. But I've picked the Reverso Classic Duo Face. There's two reasons why I picked this watch. One is very childish, and one is actually a valid reason, I think. I'm going to start off with the childish reason, of course. Now, it has two faces. On the black face, the black dial of this watch, at 6 o'clock, the small seconds resembles a Pokeball. Now, if you don't know what a Pokeball is, I'm sorry. I was a huge fan of Pokemon. I'm showing my age now. When I was a child, and having something that resembles a Pokeball excites me. I told you, one childish reason and one valid reason is the fact that you basically get two watches in one. Two very different looking watches with the classic dial on one side, the silver whitish dial. And I actually tried this watch on in Switzerland when I went recently with my wife, and it fit beautifully. You've got such versatility with this watch. But I have to say, I have to shout out Minute Mon. He doesn't know who I am. I know who he is. But he has his on a Milanese bracelet, and it's absolutely beautiful. So go and check his videos out. Check his Reverso Classic out, Duo Face, because it's a beautiful watch. I think it's such an iconic watch. I think if you're going to buy a JLC, you have to go for a Reverso. Which one? There's so many different versions out there. But there is one negative. I think they've increased the price of this watch significantly over the last 10 years. And is it justified? I don't know. But I would love to have this watch in my collection one day. Moving on to another great brand, Hamilton. And there were a couple of different watches in Hamilton's lineup that were really tempting me. But I've landed on the Khaki Field Mechanical Bronze. Bronze watches, I've talked about them on the channel before. I still don't have one. But I did try this watch on again, and it's a beautiful looking watch. Now, when you first get this watch, the case has a beautiful shine to it, but as it patinas over time, it just develops this character, which it's perfect for this particular watch. With that beautiful strap that it comes on, it just complements it very well. It's just got that sturdy bronze and simple legible dial. It's known for its ruggedness. Bronze finish only adds to its appeal. Let me know if you're a fan of this watch. I know there's so many other brilliant watches in the Hamilton lineup, and that's why this one in particular was difficult to choose, but I went for this one in the end. Moving on to one of my favorite brands, Lange Söhne. And of course, when I think about this brand, I think about dress watches. And the one in particular is the Lange 1 Moonphase. Now, I don't care if I get the white gold version, the yellow gold version, the black dial, the white dial, the blue dial. I couldn't care less, because I would be happy to have any piece, especially in this lineup, the Lange 1 Moonphase. The Lange 1 is an iconic design that shouldn't make sense, because if you look at it sort of from a perspective of symmetry, it's all over the place, but the dial is so well balanced. It's just perfection. It's a watch that shouldn't make sense, as I've said, but it's just unbelievable. The display case back as well. It really is just watchmaking at its best. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not. Now we're moving on to another master craftsman, FP Journe, and the watch I've gone for, it was a very difficult choice between their quartz Elegante, but I've gone for the Chronomètre Souverain Havana. Now this is reference 1304. I just love the color and I love the dial on this watch. FP Journe is known for its superb craftsmanship and innovative designs, and this piece is no exception. The Havana dial gives it a warm, inviting look, and the movement is a masterpiece of precision. It's one of those watches where every detail you can tell is just thought through. Similarly to the Lange Söhne that I've mentioned, the design of the case to the execution of the movement, and again the display case back here, it's perfect for a true connoisseur who appreciates watchmaking excellence. I think it's one of those brands, if you spot one of these on somebody's wrist, you know they're really deep down the rabbit hole of watch collecting. Let me know in the comments if you would agree. Now we're moving on to a bit more humble price bracket, I should say. Still great watches. We're going on to Oris, and I've picked the ProPilot X Calibre 400. Now, Big Hand date was one that was an obvious choice for me, but I had to pick a watch that I think is one of their most impressive in their lineup. Now, the reason is that this particular watch has a really sleek design, high-tech materials, and their in-house Calibre 400 movement, which is really impressive. Typically, they have off-the-shelf movements in their watches, but this is one of them that has an in-house movement. The 39mm titanium case with a 5-day hour power reserve. I think it's just a true tool watch for the 21st century. I think the look of this is beautiful. It looks futuristic, but it's still classic at the same time. We're moving on to a brand that has a lot of historical significance. Piaget. It's not talked about enough, in my opinion. Some of the most beautiful, I think, vintage watches out there. And I'm talking about the Andy Warhol watch. In particular, the Tiger Eye variation of this watch. Now, when it comes to a dress watch, I think you can't go wrong with a Piaget, especially their vintage watches are just stunning. Dial features just this beautiful tiger eye stone, which it's a beautiful looking watch, and again, you can't really go wrong. I think it's around £50,000, so it is quite a lot of money. But it's a true statement piece, which is why I picked it. Talking about statement pieces, we're moving on to Breguet, and again, I was tempted by the vintage models out there because vintage Breguet is just at the peak of vintage watches, in my opinion. But I went for a new release, which was the Classique Souscription 2025. This is simplicity at its best. Now, don't get me wrong, telling the time with this watch is a little bit more difficult because it's just that one-handed watch. But again, simplicity at its best. Anybody wearing this watch, if I ever spot you, I will shake your hand because this is a great choice. Again, the display case back is a work of art. I would like to say one day, but something tells me that I would pick the Lange 1 over this. But I really do think this is a great choice for a daily wearer, but also a dress watch as well, if you want something simplistic. As I said, simplicity at its best. It gives the historic charm while being undeniably modern with its execution. A great watch. Moving on to a brand that I think has been doing some really exciting things this year. IWC, and in particular the Ingenieur Automatic. Now, I've picked the titanium version of this watch, but it was a close call between the titanium version and the one that they released this year, which was the full ceramic version of the watch, because it had that beautiful open case back. However, the titanium version is again just a watch that just looks beautiful. In the pictures, you can tell the dial has some really beautiful depth to it, and the color scheme here, it all being that silver color, having that monochrome look, it's something that I absolutely love, and I really want to get hands-on with this watch one day. I will go as far as saying that the Ingenieur lineup now is my favorite integrated bracelet watch lineup. It was very close with the 222 Vacheron Constantin, but I think as a daily wearer, the Ingenieur is just beautiful. I will get hands-on with this watch soon, I promise you, and we'll get something on the channel sorted. Let me know in the comments if you're a fan of this watch. Now, we're moving on to a brand that so many of you wanted me to cover in the previous video. We did cover Grand Seiko, but you were not happy that I did not cover Seiko. Now, I've picked the Alpinist compass. Now, the green dial on this is just beautiful. The 39.5mm case. It's a perfect fit for most wrists. Has the automatic movement, ensures reliability on your adventures. And this watch has a bit of a story attached to it, because I remember for some reason when I was at university, I was in a lecture hall, obviously not paying attention to the lecturer, guys. I don't condone that sort of behavior. I was just searching, and I was very close to pulling the trigger to this watch, and for some reason I didn't buy it, probably because I was broke at the time, I wasn't working. But it's just got a sweet spot, a special place for me when it comes to Seiko. I think it's just a very cool watch. I love the double crown design, 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. I think it's very unique. And look, Seiko is just that solid choice for everyone. I've heard that their leather straps aren't great, so you're probably gonna have to swap out the strap for this one, but I really do like the watch, and it's a very affordable watch as well. Now, another brand which a lot of you were upset about that I didn't include was Casio. And for me, this was a very simple choice because I don't think you should overcomplicate buying a Casio. I've gone for the W591VQES. Not all great watches need to break the bank. This watch is the epitome of durability, functionality, and affordability. While it might not have the luxury pedigree of some of the others on the list, it's a perfect example of a watch that does exactly what it needs to do, which is tell the time reliably. Anybody that wears this watch, and I see this watch out and about quite a lot, I have instant respect for the individual that wears it. I don't know why, but it's just that no frills digital watch. It does what it's supposed to do, and I think actually it still looks pretty cool. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Now we're moving on to the final brand, the final watch. We're talking about Doxa, and again a brand that has some of the most unique looking watches, diver watches, and I've gone for the Army version, the 42.5mm watch. I just love the beige, I love the contrast of this watch. 42.5mm case size makes it commanding on the wrist, while the beige rubber strap that it comes with and the clean dial ensure it's practical and comfortable. There's also a NATO strap that this watch comes on, and also a beads of rice stainless steel bracelet as well. So if you're into rugged, adventure ready divers, this is a great choice, and this is the watch that I would pick from Doxa. So there you have it, another incredible set of watches, another incredible set of brands. Whether you're looking for something traditional like the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso or a modern powerhouse like the Oris ProPilot X, these timepieces I think represent the brands at their best. Let me know in the comments which one you would choose if you would agree with my choices, and again, like previously, give me a list of your choices from each of these brands. I would love to know what your choices are. If you've enjoyed the video, as usual, and made it to the end, I'm very, very grateful. I love you guys the most. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and stay tuned for new videos coming out very soon. I've been Jag from Jags Watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.